What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Good morning, or perhaps good afternoon to half the country. Welcome back to SPTV, you guys, where every day is a bad day to be David Miscavige. How's it going, Tommy?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Let me show for any of the newcomers. This is Tommy's channel on YouTube, The Lifeboat. Oh, usually I have the description here. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Did you change the formatting?
I may have.
And also YouTube has changed up the formatting of its pages.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it definitely changed some stuff.
Okay.
Around. Anyway, find Tommy at The Lifeboat. If you know who he is, you know who he is. And if you don't, go find out. Like Tom Cruise said, go find out.
Little Tom Cruise?
Man, oh man. It was amazing watching all your guys' streams at the protest on Saturday outside the Celebrity Center. How was that whole thing for you?
I'll tell you what. It was an amazing event. It really was, but it was an honor. All of these people, I met a lot of the people that I met at the protest. I had met at the Masterson sentencing, so it was kind of a reunion of sorts for a lot of people. But this was a little bit different, quite a different feel to it, because it was outside, and there was definitely a two sides to this thing. You know, where when we were in the court, we were very much divided.
Oh, your audio just did something weird, Tommy. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, keep going. Go ahead. Yeah, the last thing I clearly heard was you said there was definitely two sides to this thing.
Yeah, when we were in court, you know, there was you got the feel of sort of the Danny camp versus the rest of the world, and you got that at the protest, except it wasn't really divided. There were people that were walking right up to protesters and taking pictures of them, you know, 4 inches away. It was there was a good dose of creepiness, and the fact that every single tree on every single street that surrounded that building got cut that day, I don't think was an accident. The number of teams that they had out trimming trees, they made it so that you literally could not take a sidewalk and go around the building. So on all 4 sides, you would have to bang out, you know, they made choke points. They were really good at what they did.
Wow.
If it was an accident, it was really a good one. As we're out there protesting, crap is just falling from everything they're cutting, just like, and a bald guy sweating out there. I was like a breaded cutlet. They definitely planned their day well.
Yeah, that was definitely not an accident.
No.
You know, I was originally planning on being there. I dragged my feet too long on booking the reservations, and the hotel was twice as expensive as it was last time, and the airline flight, the ticket was 3 times as expensive, and I was like, oh man. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know, if I'm there myself, then I'll be streaming it the whole time just on my channel. But if I'm at home, I can help promote all the other channels and at least actually perhaps even do more, be able to help more of the people that are actually there. The more I thought about it, the happier I was that I didn't go, because
I think it was probably a good idea.
I feel like Scientology would have tried even harder to provoke me into some sort of a confrontation, to be perfectly honest.
Well, and I think that you have grown to a size where, and it's an honor to get an invite. You know what I mean? Like when you called me and said, "Hey, you know, there's a decent chance I'm not going. You know, would you represent the?" That's an honor to go out there. Any single time I can go out and represent SPTV, I will. I think that's probably the coolest thing in the world. And the fact that you promote everybody. If you don't have a channel that you know, that has been promoted, you don't really get an idea of what that does. I mean, that's massive. It really is. It's a huge bump. I think I got about 400 subscribers from you know, from doing the protest, which is awesome because it brings in, you know, the people on my channel are people that are really trying to get over trauma. So it's a beautiful kind of a synergy. And you know, I told the story the last time I was on with you. We talked about when I had gone to court, how I got in, because you remember we were the last 3 people that entered the building. You know, my friend from Australia and I, and there was a woman there that got us in the front door, and she was at the protest, which was cool. You know, she came down for that as well, and there were people from all over the country that showed up for that. It was the other thing that was heartwarming was the support from every single person that went by. You know what I mean? Like horns just going off every 2 seconds and people yelling stuff out the window. I think you get a feeling that that there really is a wave of people waking up to just how, you know, foul it is. I was telling Vanessa and some of the other people I was out there with, even going back 20 years, like when I knew Emmett, driving by that building always just gave me the creeps. Just one of those buildings that always just walking around it was creepy.
Yeah.
It really was. But I think it was a good thing you weren't there. You have the ability to almost overshadow an event. No offense, but when you walked into the right before we went to court, when you walked in, you're the godfather of YouTube. It's definitely a role that can overshadow an event, and it's probably good that, you know, on both sides, like you said, there would have been a lot more interest, I think, in making things tough.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, I jumped into the chat that Vanessa and Serge and Laura were doing last night, and I was like, oh, I hope I can be at the next one. And I was like, would I actually? I honestly started thinking about it. Would it do more harm than good if I showed up, particularly if it meant Scientology was going to send more goons to try to provoke all of us into some sort of an altercation? And I started to question whether I would really have the patience to put up with something like that, and whether it's better for me to stay home. You know, like honestly, because I was like, okay, what if they organize something in Clearwater? Would I go? On the one hand, it would look absurd if I did not go. But then I really started to wonder, you know, would it actually be more harmful? And I'm not quite sure I've resolved it for myself.
Yeah. It probably does become a different question when it's right in your backyard. But I think the question of whether you would do more harm from good is a legitimate one. It really is. You just have a very large following, which is awesome. You know what I mean? It brings a lot of attention to everything that's going on. But I heard people walking around at that event saying, this thing is star-studded. I thought, if you had come out, it would have been a different spectacle, I think. And I don't know. I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it was crazy watching your streams and seeing how many people were there pretending to be supporters or uninterested third parties who were just that. I was like, no, those are Scientology goons. Those are people there to create trouble. Yeah. And one of them grabbed Laura's sign at one point.
Yeah, you saw that.
I was like, yikes. And I thought to myself, if that was me, that might have ended much worse.
It would have absolutely ended much worse. I said the same thing. And the crazy thing is that if you can watch that incident happen from like 5 different camera angles, right? If you catch all the right people that filmed that, and every single person that could have been of any support to her had some unusual person talking to them. I mean, it really is just bizarre how all of that went down. Cause I mean, that was pretty much where I stood for the entire day, except, you know, at that point. And there were a lot of people there. I'm telling you that, and it was bizarre, Aaron, because the number of times I heard somebody say, you see that woman in the hat? That woman is, and they would say something. And then the description of who that person was afterwards, either, you know, with the Church of Scientology or with the press, or a combination of both. It was, that woman had people in a tailspin all day. And there were a lot of people like that because they just seemed either a little too interested or not interested enough. Right. There was just, it was bizarre to watch the interaction, because there was a crapload of people there that were not there for the same reason we were, in spite of the fact that they may have looked like they were there for the same reason that we were.
Yeah. Even people who were calling themselves journalists were acting very weird, a little aggressive, very pushy.
Refusing to give their last name, which is an odd thing.
Yeah.
That was really strange.
I got to tell you, I mean, when's the last time anybody organized something like that? It's one thing to do L. Ron Hubbard way. I mean, that already is very ballsy. Right. To do it outside the Celebrity Center, oh, you're touching a very sensitive nerve there. That's Scientology's not used to that.
Right. Well, and when we arrived, you got to see this from the Tommy Scoville point of view. So we arrive and we round the corner, and the last time I saw that many police in one spot, it didn't work out so well.
They were coming for you last time.
They may have been coming for me the last time I saw that many cops in one place. And I had to kind of walk through the middle of them. I think I may have started my feed by saying this is the most cops I've been anywhere near in a long time. There was 3 times the police presence there than there was at the sentencing. Easily 3 times the presence.
Yeah. And look, I don't know how the politics work or the logistics work with the police, but that was an unpermitted event to the best of my knowledge, because it just took place on a public sidewalk. There was no street closures. There was no nothing. I find it horribly embarrassing that the LAPD sent such a strong presence for the entire event for what was just people gathering on a sidewalk. Like you're trying to counteract the impression that the Hollywood division of the LAPD is in Scientology's pocket, and you do that.
Yeah, it was the optics were really bad. If it was, because afterwards stuff came out that they came and someone had a concealed weapon and permit, and but someone saw the gun, and there was all of this stuff that went on with that, and people talking about it afterwards. But like you said, it didn't really die down. They just sort of switched corners, but there were police around that building all day long, a lot of them. And you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed to also have that opinion. A lot of the people that reached out to me in email said the same thing. Boy, if they're not in the back pocket, they really look like they're in the back pocket. It's really kind of a bad view.
So let me ask you this: the guy who was hired private armed security, Alexa Nicholas, hired him. He was a legitimate dude working for a legitimate organization. If I understand correctly, she had also hired him a few weeks prior for the protest on L. Ron Hubbard Way. There's nothing illegal or suspicious or illegitimate about him having a concealed carry. He's private hired security, former LAPD. What can you tell me about what did you observe? Was there something fishy going on there? Did anything get mishandled? I mean, it seems like the LAPD mishandled him.
Well, it seemed it almost seemed like a setup from the word go. You know what I mean? Like they knew the word that was getting around the corner was that someone said they saw the weapon, that it was super obvious. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I looked at this guy before and after the incident. I didn't happen to see a weapon, and I'm not trying to sound like a filthy criminal, but it is one of those things that I tend to look at. You know what I mean? I kind of look to see if people may be strapped. And if I'm at an event, I'm probably really looking. So it seemed set up. It seemed weird. It really did. It just seemed like and then the LAPD got really jumpy about the bullhorns. And it was right at that same time, because people started rolling up with bullhorns, and he was like, no, those are not allowed. You can't have any of those at this event. Now this has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. Oddly enough, I actually have read the case. It was something in prison. So there was a guy that I handled. I did some legal work for when he was in prison, but it goes back to that guy that was back in the day. There was a guy that used to go to funerals of fallen soldiers to tell them they were going to hell because they were gay and all kinds of just a really reprehensible person who should probably enjoy a eternity in the fiery pits of hell. However, he went all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use that bullhorn at their funerals and won. So I assure you can do it at L. Ron Hubbard Way or anywhere else that you want to do it. But yeah, they definitely did not seem to have not chosen a side, right? By the time we had arrived, it seemed pretty obvious that if they were there on behalf of anybody, it sure as hell wasn't us.
Right.
You know,
people in the live chat on the live stream for the protest were saying, and again, everyone on the internet is an expert, and they were saying that there is some statute on the books in the state of California that protects quote unquote places of worship from being interfered with, unless perhaps you have a permit or something,
right,
with devices that amplify sound. And so maybe that was a legitimate thing. Maybe it wasn't. We'll leave it to the experts on the internet to let us know.
So there's a few out there. Is there a couple? That's probably a good thing.
In a couple hours, I'm going to be doing another recap with, we're going to try to get everyone on of Vanessa and Serge and Liz and Laura to get their perspective on it as well.
I think that'd be fun to watch. I like to hear it from people that see it a little differently than I do. You know what I mean? It's fascinating when you get to be at an event like that with people that in my life, I've run into a lot of observant people. You tend to try to look if somebody's following you, and that kind of thing. And I was there with the Jane Does were there, which was just courageous as hell. And, you know, that was the reason I stopped filming, is because I wanted to be able to go up and say hello, and I didn't want, you know, to have them on film. And I ended up going and sort of hanging out with them. But she did, you know, I was standing there between the two of them, and they did the exact same thing. They would be like, that person right there, no. Trust me, that is that person's with Scientology. That person there, no. And I love it. I mean, it's wild. It really is. It's not like going to any other kind of I've been to other protests. They definitely have a different feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was super awesome of you to go out there.
It's an honor, man. It really is.
The support that you give the SPTV community is really incredible, and I certainly appreciate it.
Oh, no.
Dave Bowen's cracking me up. Laura FM gave lots of good content, except 0% of it is usable with that potty mouth.
Who was Laura cursing?
It was so funny. I was like, I was having funny reactions to her swearing. It's so funny. When I started my channel, I would swear just as much on my channel as I swear in real life. And
Really?
it sort of bothered me when people would complain about how much I swear. And I thought, do we watch the same YouTube videos? I go, everyone I watch on YouTube swears as much as I swear in real life. And I'm like, I'm just being my authentic self. And then over time, I was just like, you know, why am I going to turn away so many people by swearing so much? So I've toned it down in my own videos.
Yeah.
I still swear like a trucker in real life, because to me, that's how I express my authentic self.
Right. I would like to, I wish that I did it less when I'm not on film. I tend to get rolling, but I stopped just because of where I was. You know what I mean? I was in a place where every single word, you know, people's vocabulary gets down to like 9 words in prison. So I did this. Yeah. I'm not going to talk like that anymore, I think.
Well, it's crazy. In Scientology, the F word is a preposition, it's a conjunction, it's a verb, it's a noun.
You guys break words up and put it in the middle, and not many people do that. That was a big thing with our mutual friend. He would say effing all the time. I'm like, you got to break up syllables up to throw an F-bomb in it. You're really a fan of the word.
That's right.
No,
and it's weird for people to understand, especially religious people, that in an organization like Scientology that calls itself a religion, part of the culture is swearing like a truck driver. Like, it's not like, oh, I grew up with parents who swore. No, I grew up in the org. I grew up on staff. I grew up on the Sea Org basis. Everybody swears like that.
Right. And every word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've yet to, but yeah, Laura's a decent representation. Laura just doesn't throttle back as often as Aaron does. She keeps it full throttle most of the time. I love Laura. She's great.
That's right. All right. Well, that was just a quick update.
And genuinely one of a kind.
Yeah, Laura's awesome.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get on here and chat about it.
And what time did you say you were doing that one? Because I'm going to
in 2 hours.
I do not want to miss that.
Yeah, in 2 hours. Guys, for anyone new to the chat, new to the video, the Lifeboat is where you can find Tommy on YouTube. He does a lot of awesome stuff there in recovery, both recovery and life. Okay, so the description on your channel that I can't find now, it says
convicted bank robber.
Yes,
convicted bank robber. Basically got sick of the life, something along those lines. Somebody smarter than me wrote the first one, so I surely don't remember but yeah, it was how a convicted bank robber got sober and came up with the concept of maybe giving people an opportunity to come together and talk about trauma in a unique way. Kind of using social media to be social instead of antisocial was the concept, and it has taken off. So we're blessed.
Very cool, man. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us briefly on this fine Monday afternoon. Thank you, as always, to everybody who
19 minutes in, I'm tempted to throw an F-bomb just because. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Thanks for everyone who watches until the very end, and we'll chat with you guys soon.
All righty.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.